welcome back to my channel. If you're new around here, my name is Becca. I'm a music teacher who blogs over at beccasmusicroom.com, and I talk about teacher tips, teacher life, teacherpreneurs, and all things that might hopefully make your life just a little bit easier. Today we're here to talk about something everybody loves. Taxes. So it is tax season. Tax season is among us. My mom is a tax preparer, so this season is always a little bit stressful, or used to be when I lived at home. But this is just a really crazy and confusing time for a lot of people. So today we're going to talk about taxes and your TPT shop, specifically tax returns. We're not going to get into sales tax right now, so we're going to hop on over to my desk so that we can chit chat a little more formally. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure you like, subscribe, and share so that other people can find it as well. All right, so if you own a Teachers Pay Teacher shop, then you need to be claiming all of that income in your taxes. That could be good news or bad news depending on who you are. So let's get into a couple of the basic things so that you understand at least a little bit. Now, before we get into it, I do want to say I am not a tax preparer. I just am a person who has been around taxes my whole life. I've worked at a tax office, and my mom has told me everything that I need to do in order to make sure my business is legal. She's very concerned about my business being legal. So I don't know a lot, but if you have a question, feel free to leave it down below. And if I don't know the answer, I will text my mom and she'll find out for me. So let's hop right into it. Number one, if you have more than $20,000 in sales, Teachers Pay Teachers will have sent you a I think it's a W-9 is what they send. I'm not sure because I have not made that much money, but I will this year. Just wait and see. So if you do not hit that mark, you still need to claim your income, but they will not send you like a form. So what you need to do is go on Teachers Pay Teachers and figure out how much you made last year. Hopefully you were keeping track of this all year, but if you were not, then I would suggest going to like the yearly view and counting up each month and seeing how much you did, or you can adjust the range so it'll show you like January 1st to December 31st, but you need to figure out what that number is. So number one, you need to know how much you sold. Number two, you need to figure out how much you spent. Now again, hopefully you're keeping track of your expenses all year, but if you were not, well, that's going to be interesting. But because you are a business, businesses get to claim their expenses and say how much they spent for the business. So personally, I keep all of my receipts all year for anything that I spend on my business, like clip art, like my email service provider, like my Tailwind, like my blog hosting software, like physical things like my notebooks and pens that I use to plan things out. I have like my camera that I purchased this year for my YouTube because that's part of my business. And so all of those things go into business expenses. Again, you need to have your receipts. So if you did not keep your receipts all year, then you might want to go investigating now. If you go back through your Amazon orders, go back through your TPT purchases and figure out how much that was. After you know what your expenses were, then you're going to want to categorize them by the different categories that are on the tax form. So I'm going to show you what that looks like so you can know.
So this is the form that you need to fill out. It's called a Schedule C, and it's the profit or loss statement. So on here, you will fill out how much money you made and then also any expenses. And your expenses are broken down into all these different categories. So when you go see your tax preparer, just already know like how much you spend on advertising and how much you spend on each of these things so that you are ready to go.
Now, if this year was a struggle for you because maybe you didn't know any of those things that I just told you, what I suggest for next year is to do a few things. Number one, keep track every month of all the income that comes in, especially if you get income that's not from Teachers Pay Teachers. So for example, I get income from Google AdSense, which is the service provider for ads on my blog, and I don't get paid a lot from them, but I get, a little bit, and different things like that. I get a little bit from Amazon and just different things like that. Keep track of everything you make by month. Number two is to keep track of all of your expenses, which you should really be doing anyway. What I do is super classy. I have this little file folder that I got at Target and these little files that I got on Amazon. And each month I have a little piece of paper that I fill out that has at the top, all the money that I made last month, and then at the bottom, all different places that I can write expenses, and some on the back, just in case, because I do have an Etsy shop that goes along with my TPT store, and that can be a lot. So then what I do is in each file, I have 1 month. So I keep all of my receipts. I keep this that tells me everything that I purchased in that file. And that way at the end of the year, when I go back, everything is really, really easy to figure out. In addition to that, I like to keep a little sheet that tells me how much money I made and from what. So this has, you know, like my Teachers Pay Teachers, my AdSense, my Amazon, my Etsy, and just all the things so that I can figure out how much I made each month and how much money I need to claim. So those are a couple little things that will just help you get a little better for next year if this year was maybe a surprise. I hope this video was helpful. If you have lots of questions about this, you can, again, leave them down below. If I don't know the answer, I'll ask my mama. And really, I would suggest to get a tax preparer. I know it's really tempting to just go try to do it yourself, but especially if you have a business, like, it just makes life so much more complicated. So go to a tax preparer, have all your stuff ready for them, like receipts should be already figured out. Don't make them sit there and add them up because they're going to charge you for it because it's annoying. So definitely do that. If you were unprepared this year, then hopefully you can get more prepared for next year. Before I sign off, I do want to tell you 2 little things. So this month I want to start 2 things. Number 1, I would like to do reviews of some TPT shops. So if you would like me to go to your TPT shop and just kind of give some suggestions for things that you might improve and film it and put on YouTube, leave a comment down below with your link to your shop, and then also let me know at least how long you've had your shop and anything else that you might want to tell me that might help me understand your shop a little better so that I know how to help you improve. Again, I don't know all the answers, but I know at least a little bit, so hopefully I could give you some helpful pointers. And then number 2, I'm wanting to do a Q&A video. So if you have any questions about Teachers Pay Teachers, about teaching, about music, about my life, about anything, leave those down below as well, and it might get featured in our Q&A video, which will be at the end of the month. Thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful, wonderful week.